Let's get into our afternoon Bears rumors roundup. I'm Harrison Graham. DK Metcalf. Could the Bears trade for the Seahawks wide receiver? I won't completely dismiss this. One smoking Jay, which it's pretty unlikely, let's be honest. But, you got the Shane Waldron connection. Seattle's future somewhat unknown. So I'll entertain the idea for a few minutes here. Bears Twitter's been up in arms. Oh, Shane Waldron, he likes those big receivers. Did great with DK Metcalf. He'd be an awesome fit with DJ Moore. And listen, that's all true. But that does not mean the Seahawks are just going to trade him to you. But I will add the caveat of, I don't know what Seattle's future looks like. Do they hit a bit of a rebuild here and consider trading off some of their better players to get more draft assets? Who are they going to hire as their head coach? That's still up in the air. I think most people assume it's going to be Dan Quinn, but that hasn't been finalized. Now, I do want to get into the financials of this because anytime you explore a trade with another team, not only do you have to explore the financials for your team, but more importantly, usually it's that team. Like, how much of a penalty is it on their salary cap to dump a player? And the reality is unless it's a post-June 1st trade, the Seahawks virtually save no money. It's $1.5 million in savings if they traded him anytime between now and June 1st. After June 1st, it'd be $18 million in savings. So yeah, that's a significant number for Seattle. But he's also a really good player that can help them next year, right? Like, and post-June 1 trades, especially for really good players like this, don't typically happen. So it's unlikely. I wouldn't consider this something you should lose sleep over. I don't think it's going to happen. Now, if DK Metcalf didn't like the new coach that got hired and requested a trade, maybe that would change things, but there's no indication something like that's going to occur. So I think that's worth mentioning. Now, I think another reason why it's worth talking about from a Bears standpoint is you do have Shane Waldron, but also Shane Waldron and Matt Eberflus, I would assume, along with Ryan Poles perhaps, has interviewed Sanjay Law, who's been the Seahawks wide receivers coach and pass game coordinator this past couple of seasons. And DK Metcalf had this to say about Sanjay Law when asked about him. He said, "He pushed me to be a great receiver, broke down routes like I've never heard before, so he's got respect for him." So that could be another potential connection if you were to land Sanjay Law on this coaching staff, which, by the way, I think as a receivers coach and potentially a pass game coordinator would be a pretty seamless fit. He's worked with Waldron already. Metcalf obviously has had success with Shane Waldron over the last couple of years, and obviously under Sanjay Law as well. So again, I'd love to have DK Metcalf. I would consider some kind of package featuring the number 9 pick to bring him in here. I just don't think it's that likely from Seattle's standpoint, for if nothing else, a financial reason. So I wouldn't get your hopes up on this. Again, one smoking Jay. It's a slight possibility, but I don't think it's very likely at all. Okay, fill in the blank because this question is significant. Assuming DJ Moore is your number 1 receiver, whereas with DK it'd be kind of a 1A, 1B, who will the Bears' number 2 be next year? The Bears' number 2 wide receiver next season will be blank. Fill in the blank for us on today's video. All right, let's continue with our rumors roundup. Eddie Jackson, does he want to return next season? Oh, yeah. 4 smoking Jays. BoJack wants to be back for year number 8 in Chicago. Kind of crazy. He's basically the veteran of this team now, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Now, if you're new here, if you haven't seen our Smokin' Jay Cutler rumor meter before, you're like, what is 1 Smokin' Jay, 4 Smokin' Jay? Well, here's the rumor meter. If there's no Smokin' Jays, it's fake news. It's not going to happen. 1 Smokin' Jay, it's barely true. Pun on one's there. It could happen, but it's unlikely. 2 Smokin' Jays, people are talking. Perhaps it could happen. 3 Smokin' Jays, it's pretty likely. 4 Smokin' Jays, a bear down. There's no doubt. And the reason I put 4 for him wanting to be back, yeah, he flat out said that today. I'd probably put it at 2 Smokin' Jays in terms of whether he'll be back or not. It could go either way. He was on 670 The Score and said this: "Lord willing, I hope I'm here next year, but God always has a plan. So I feel like I'll always land on my feet. I hope it's here. I know how it works in this business. I wish I could be here my entire career, but we know how this thing works, so you have to live in the moment." So he's kind of saying, please, I'd like to be back, but if not, it is what it is. I kind of do understand that. So coming up, I'll dive into the financials of him, the possibility of him returning in 2024. But first, I want to tell you guys about our sponsor. Is anybody going to the big game? If you are, or if you're thinking about it, listen up, because we've got a deal for you. The big game is less than 2.5 weeks away. We're getting very, very close. And if you plan on going, listen, whether you're a new user or existing user of Game Time, today's sponsor, you can get $100 off with promo code Vegas100. That's code Vegas100, a free $100 in Las Vegas. Sounds like a fun opportunity to me. Also, if you haven't created an account with Game Time, this is the time to do so. Game Time makes purchasing tickets to any event easy and painless, whether it's the big game or something else. With Game Time, you get visuals of the exact vantage points of whatever ticket you're purchasing. And better than that, when you create an account, you can get $20 off your first purchase with promo code BEARS20. So let me recap. Let me remind you guys, 2 opportunities here. New or existing customers with Game Time, code Vegas100 gets you $100 off the big game if you're going to be attending that. And if you're a new customers only, download the Game Time app and use promo code BearsChat to get $20 off your first purchase. Awesome opportunities with Game Time right now. Go download the app in the App Store today. There's a link in the comments and description that'll redirect you there as well. Promo code BearsChat, $20 off. Promo code Vegas100 if you're going to the big game. Okay, more on Eddie Jackson. You look at how he played this year. It just wasn't that good, right? You know, Ryan Poles in his post-season presser with Flus was asked about Eddie Jackson's future, and he said, yeah, you know, this season probably didn't go the way Eddie wanted to. He was battling that foot injury, so he was in and out of the lineup. And it's a shame because in 2022, he played excellent, but then he suffered that Lisfranc foot injury. Took him a while to get back. He re-injured it this year. He was battling through that. PFF grade, not very good. QB rating when targeted, really not good at all at 121.1. He looked like a player who had lost a step. Now, taking the Green Bay game aside, because he was bad in Week 18, I thought he played a little better the final month or so. But you look at those numbers and just use your eyes to watch the games. He's just not worth $18.14 million, which is what his cap hit is next year. You could save over $12.5 million by just cutting him, wiping the slate clean. And hell, if you do a post-1 cut, it's over $14 million. To me, if he's back, he has to take a big pay cut. Like, Eddie, you say you want to be back. How badly do you want to be back? Because I would be shocked if he returned at that current price tag. In fact, if he does, that is just poor judgment by Ryan Poles. Like, it's just poor uses of resources. So I think that cap hit has to get below $10 million just as a starting point, if not lower. We'll see what happens. I could be talked into him returning at the right price, but not at $18 million, man, and not really anything over $10 million because he played like a fringe starter at best this year. I think he'll be better next year with the full off season of being fully healthy, but there's no guarantees, man. He's 30 now. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Will Eddie Jackson be back in 2024? Type Y for yes, type in for no. My gut tells me no. I just remember Ryan Poles taking this job, cutting Danny Trevathan, trading Khalil Mack, like these aging veterans. Like, the financials make sense to cut him. So unless he takes a major pay cut, I think he's gone. Make sure you guys subscribe. We're 3 subs away, literally, from 86,000 subscribers. You could be the 86,000th sub. How cool would that be? Let's go. Help me get there. Once this is published, I hope it says 86,000. Appreciate all the love and support. You guys have been fantastic supporters of mine. Okay, Saquon Barkley. We've talked about him a little bit here. Could the Bears sign him? I'll go 2 smoking Jays. People are talking. I definitely think an upgrade at running back is possible. Now, Pro Football Focus mentioned 4 teams that they thought could make sense for Saquon in free agency. The Bears were one of them. The Texans were another. Staying with the Giants, of course, is going to be a possibility. And then they mentioned the Philadelphia Eagles as well, with DeAndre Swift as a free agent. Maybe they swing a little bigger at that position. We'll have to wait and see. But Barkley, I don't think he's a perfect back. I don't think his best days are ahead of him, but if he kind of gives you somewhere in the middle of this production, right? Like, I don't think he's giving you 1,300 yards. I don't think you're getting almost 300 carries out of him if you sign him. But if you get, in that 1,000-yard range and it's at a more efficient clip than what we saw this year, I think it might be worthwhile on a 1 or 2 year deal. I wouldn't give him more than that because, philosophically, I don't believe in paying big-name running backs big money. But on a 1 or 2 year deal, I'm open to 2 years, $20 million, 2 years, $18 million, 1 year, $10, $11 million. I definitely am, because I watched, obviously you guys know, I watch every single snap of every single Bears game, and this running back rotation's fine, but there's not like an awesome lead back. Like, Khalil Herbert has gotten multiple chances to be the clear lead back, and yeah, for individual games we see it. He had 200-yard games late in the year, but he also gets hurt a decent amount, and it's inconsistent, right? Like, I think Herbert is a great number 2 back. I think he's a fine number 1, but for a 17-game season, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen him prove that he can be that guy. So I am upgrading, or open to upgrading at running back. Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs. I'm fascinated to see what the market is. I would have to think that all 3 of these guys are going to get a similar figure, and I don't think it's going to be more than 10 or 11 million bucks per year. And again, you've got enough cap space. Ryan Poles is smart with the way he designs these contracts. You do it on a 1 or 2 year deal. It's not mortgaging your future. Like, I am very much open to this. I like Derrick Henry the most, but Saquon or Josh Jacobs, I'd be open to that as well. Khalil Herbert should change a pace back, and then Roschon Johnson's your 3rd down back. Like, I think that really, really could work well together. So we'll have to wait and see if the Bears agree with me or not. Should the Bears sign a top running back in free agency, type S for sign, P for pass? Again, I'm in. Now, if all these guys get 3+ year deals and 10+ million on a 3-year deal, okay, like maybe not. But if it's a 1 or 2 year deal, I'm absolutely in. S for sign is my answer. What say you? We'll be back tomorrow with the video in the morning, and then the live show tomorrow at 4 o'clock Central Time. So subscribe and join us then.